Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Tonight's story is a series, and this is part 1 and 2 of the series entitled I'm part of a Cryptid Intervention Task Force. Without further ado, let's get straight into that. There's lots of dark things in this world that many people don't know about. These things don't care about us. They don't care about our lives. To them, we're just pests running around in their land. You see, I'm part of a cryptid task force. We're pretty well funded and have the best gear and training money can buy. A lot of guys here are former Tier 1 operators from all over the world. Some SAS, some MARSOC, Delta, PJ, Spetsnaz. You get the idea. Our job is to be the wall that separates their world from ours. We get deployed to various areas where there is a surge in cryptid activity. A number of missing hikers or campers spiking. We get sent in. Strange sightings. We investigate. More often than not, our encounters are to neutralize the threat above all else. And trust me, we've adopted a pretty simple yet catchy motto here. Nothing bullets cannot cure. Now, I'm going to be straight up. I do not recommend anyone to go hunting for these things. This isn't a movie or a TV show. These things will kill you, eat you, and shit you out without hesitation. You do not know how many wannabe cryptid hunters we've had to scrape up while we're dealing with an active target. Also, just as a side note, being in this task force doesn't mean you get to encounter every single cryptid. There's many I haven't engaged other teams have had the fate of dealing with. Now, it's a little about me. Spent some time in Force Recon, been around the world, seen my fair share of shit and how brutal we as a species can get. And trust me, that shit stays with you. After I did my time, I decided to get into private contracting. One thing led to another, and through word of mouth, I ended up in this outfit. On to what I feel many of you are waiting for. Where I'm stationed at the moment, the main groups I deal with are werewolves and stag deer people. Lately, these groups have been quiet, with the deer people being the most peaceful of the two. The werewolves, we've been able to create a set of boundaries with them. You see, the werewolves themselves were not transformed, are off-the-grid type of individuals. They've told us they would keep themselves to themselves and help police their own if any try to cross that line. Lately though, we're hearing that they've been having sightings of large bipedal creatures skulking the outskirts of towns bordering the forest. Missing persons, and even one story from a family to the local PD about how their children witnessed their father being dragged away by the dog people. We decided to pay the local alphas a visit. It was an 8-man team, with a platoon-sized force on standby as QRF in case the proverbial shit hit the fan. We loaded up into the MRAP and drove off into the forest. It was a quiet ride, save for the occasional story or joke being tossed around. I myself was nodding off and catching up on some extra hours of sleep before nudged awake by the feeling of the vehicle coming to a stop. The hatch opened and we all moved out and set up a perimeter. We were in front of the makeshift shantytown, made out of abandoned RVs and mobile homes. As we approached them, we spotted movement through one of the windows. Our CO told us to stand down and walked forward with his hands up. He only took 10 steps before a man, built like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Predator, stepped out from one of the mobile homes. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and my grip on my weapon tightened. The air was filled with tension as we watched our commanding officer looked up at this giant, and then laugh. The man laughed as well, and they embraced each other with a firm handshake, with an audible, "How have you been, you bastard?" being heard. I relaxed a bit, as did the rest of the team. The man beckoned us all closer, with our CO nodding that it was all clear. We found out that apparently they have been a pack of younger werewolves running about, causing havoc and disturbing the peace of the general area and trying to gain strength, which connects them to the string of missing individuals. We reported back to base, and we, along with 3 other teams, were tasked with a SAR op deep into the pack's territory. Our secondary objective was to subdue or neutralise the younger pack. Now, to be honest, I was hoping to talk these guys down, but knowing that this pack was filled with hotheads trying to make a name for themselves as the new big bad on the block, I doubt we were going to be able to do that. At 17:45 hours, we moved out, pushing past the boundaries placed by the treaty some years ago. It was unnerving to say the least. Don't get me wrong, we're all solid guys, each seeing our share of chaos and brutality that would swallow up the soul of a regular individual. But this was something storming an insurgent stronghold or securing a VIP. One wrong move and the entire op could go tits up and a lot of good men would die. That's when our vehicle got hit. MRAPs are designed to take IEDs like a champ and keep rolling until the occupants are out of the kill zone. But I don't think they accounted for the factor of nearly 300 pounds of pure muscle slamming into it at 35 to 50 miles per hour. It sent our vehicle tumbling onto its side and me hanging on for dear life. In the initial days of recovering from the impact, I heard the metal on the back door straining, then saw it come flying right off. The beast then peeked its head in and eyed all of us, as if picking from a large buffet table. Its bright yellow eyes locked onto mine as I froze. I couldn't bring my weapon up, nor could I call out. All I could do is lay there as this hulking monstrosity reached for me. Gunfire rang out and I saw the impact of 3 rounds into its lower abdomen. It howled and stumbled back as CO had his sidearm out and pumped the last 7 rounds into its upper chest and face. It fell onto the dirt road, writhing in pain, smoke visibly coming out of the entry points. Fun fact, our rounds are silver tipped, and for our sidearms, silver tipped hollow points filled with holy ash. We exited the vehicle and watched as our commander, I'll call him Conrad, dispatched the bastard with 2 rounds from his rifle to the dome. That's when the gunfire started ringing out in the distance and the howls. The radio in the MRAP came to life with a frantic voice on the net.
This is Wolfpack 36 to Apache Flight, confirm, call sign.
Wolfpack 36, this is Black Raven, over.
Solid copy, Black Raven. Request air support at these coordinates. All units in the area. Message follows. Nirvana. I say it again, Nirvana. Damn it, Black Raven. We need support.
Copy that. Coming in hot.
They're closing. Oh God, no, Jesus Christ, shit.
The gunfire reached a crescendo, only to be drowned out by the sound of hellfire impacting the area. We sat there in stunned silence, looking at one another before Conrad interjected. Zweihander, this is Hunter, actual. All bodies accounted for. We still Oscar Mike to objective. How copy?
Zweihander to Hunter, actual. Solid copy on all. Be advised, Wolfpack is down. Rendezvous with Eagle and Dragoon 3 clicks from your position.
Solid copy, Zweihander. Hunter, actual, out. Conrad looked at us all. Keep your head on a swivel, boys. We're in their country now. Needless to say, the hellfire probably helped our rendezvous with Eagle and Dragoon more than anything. After grouping up into a sizable force, we pushed forward, locating their lair of the pack. They were holed up in a cave with makeshift barricades around the entrance. We set up positions around it. Our COs drawing up a plan to neutralise the hostiles and hopefully save any of the missing people taken over the past week, if they weren't turned. That's when we saw someone walk out. He looked no older than 19, but he walked as if he was better than us. He stood at the entrance with several others coming up behind him. He called out to us.
Alright, we know why you're here, and trust me, you don't want to fuck with us. We can take out all of you easily. There's more of us than you in here. Too many bodies for your bullets.
As per protocol, our retort was for him and his compatriots to stand down, come in for questioning and judgment by the elder alphas, and to release anyone they held captive. The look on the kid's face was one of disgust and contempt as we bruised his ego. He flipped us off and crouched down on all fours and began to transform. Fucking idiot, I thought. Before he could even finish, a shot rang out. A silver-tipped 7.62 51mm round impacted his forehead, splitting it like a watermelon. The silence that followed was unnerving. The other individuals looked at his body, then at us, and dropped to their knees, hands in the air. Conrad looked at me, motioning for me and several others to move in, secure and search the compound. I got up and moved, my rifle levelled and ready, moving swiftly towards them, heel to toe, heel to toe. I got a good look at them, all kids. Some were crying, others were shocked into silence as we zip-tied them. After they were secured, we moved into the cave itself. I tossed the flare in, shouting out, "CRT! Anyone in here?" We got a response, albeit a weak one. We moved to the sound and found our missing individuals, all 8 of them. 5 males, 3 females, all obviously shook up and in need of aid. We moved them out onto the waiting MRAPs heading back to base. From what we gathered, we killed the head honcho of the pack, and their strongest members were taken out by the Hellfire. The survivors were questioned, all said that the kidnapped individuals were set to be turned and added to their numbers. We recovered the bodies of Wolfpack and gave them the burial they deserved. That's all I can say for now. I've got to go. We've got reports of something big happening, and Command needs all hands on deck. Take care, all of you. And remember, nothing bullets can't cure. Part 2. I'm part of a Cryptid Intervention Task Force. Let's get straight into that. Hey all, I hope everyone has been well and safe since my last post. Boy, do I have a story to tell. Did I ever mention how much I hate wannabe cryptid hunters? You know the type. They read about cryptids on forums, watch a bunch of online videos and then decide, hey, I'm going to go out with my hunting rifle and hunt one down. I'm a badass. Yeah, those guys. I remember telling you all we had something big going down. It was a clusterfuck. Now let me get down to the details. The perimeter guards caught one of the deer people coming towards our compound. It wasn't uncommon. They would pass by, interact with us and quietly go on about their business. Only this time, it was carrying a bundle in its arms. The guard slowly strode up to it, then quickly radioed in to Command about her find. Apparently, the bundle was its offspring, dead from a gunshot wound. The deer people are a very neutral group. They stay in heavy isolation at times, often nervous and wary of humans. It took us quite some time to build up a bond with them. They understand our language, which helps immensely with communication and peaceful relocation when they wander off too far. From what was described to us, its child was simply exploring its surroundings, albeit a bit far from the habitat, but the herd was close in case anything happened. According to the head of the herd, the air smelt wrong, as if an outsider had arrived, but before he could figure out what was happening, a shot rang out. He and several other males made their way fast as they could to the area where the sound originated from, and found 2 humans standing over their child. The humans in question fled the scene when they saw the large group of deer people congregating. They came to us immediately, hoping we could find the humans that did this. The base commander, call sign Zweihander, sent them on their way and reached out to the local contracts he had. What was relayed back to us was concerning, to say the least. Apparently, there was a large group of hunters coming through, and the other day 2 were seen muttering about how they'd found a herd of Wendigos. Since then, the group decided to pack up and move. We've launched a UAV to scout the area and found a large heat signature deep in the forest. Upon closer examination, we found a makeshift encampment complete with barricades and fighting positions. We mobilised ASAP with Hunter Team, my group, taking point. We inserted 4 clicks from the encampment and moved in on foot, under the cover of darkness. Our objective was to recon the area, observe, and if possible, impede the group's operation capabilities. As we neared the encampment, the smell of fresh blood filled the air. Conrad held up his fist and we crouched down. Ahead of us was the Hunter encampment, but there was no noise, no bustle of activity whatsoever. He opened his palm and slowly gestured forward, and, as one, we slowly approached the camp. As we got closer, it became more apparent as to what happened. There were body parts everywhere. Spent shell casings, splatters of blood on barricades, vehicles, and the grass. It was a massacre. We found out, examining everything. We noticed the scattered piles of shell casings meant they were firing in all directions, with no clear target. I was confused. This was far from werewolf territory, and the deer people were nowhere near this area, and are completely peaceful. I looked at Conrad, who just stood there, looking at it all. I could tell the gears were turning in his head, trying to make sense of this. I was trying as well, but I couldn't shake the feeling in the air, the feeling like we didn't belong, the sense of primal dread gnawing at my very soul. I was shaken out of my trance by Conrad barking orders at us to form up and set up a defensive perimeter. He was frantic, pacing up and down like a madman. He cupped the side of his handset and started to halfway speak and shout. I never saw this stoic leader of mine lose his cool before, like he did now. Zweihander! This is Hunter, actual, be advised. Alan Quinn, all units on the net message follows. Alan Quinn, Alan Quinn. My blood ran cold, my heart stopped. Alan Quinn was a code word for Wendigo. Command ran us through the rumours of Wendigo sightings and even beefed up our patrols, but we didn't find anything. In the corner of my eye, I saw a flash of movement. I turned and levelled my rifle, focusing on the tree far from the encampment. I cocked my head to the side, then back up, noticing a pair of red eyes. Contact! Contact! I yelled, flipping the safety off my rifle and opened fire. Backing up, the rounds impacted the tree, the third hitting the creature behind the tree, causing it to howl. The area came alive with gunfire as several Wendigos broke through the tree line. The red eyes, the rotten antlers, the emasculated frames. It was a scene of nightmares. They got closer to our position. We were able to drop 3 of them, but the 4th broke through our position. The Wendigo thrashed around, grabbing one of the teammates and tossing them up in the air and batting them away. They died on impact, the hit from the Wendigo breaking their spine. I levelled my rifle and fired, the rounds impacting the Wendigo's skull. The creature collapsed, and we immediately set fire to the bodies. The QRF came in immediately, with a clean-up crew collecting the remains of the victims, breaking down the camp and cleaning away the blood. I looked to the side, seeing my teammate, his name was Malcolm, being gingerly picked up from where he was thrown by the Wendigo. They placed him on a stretcher and covered his body, slowly carrying him off. The ride back to base was silent. We lost a good man that night, all because a bunch of idiots decided to meddle with a world they do not understand. But one thing concerned us and command. There were actual Wendigos in our area. Something was different. Their patterns were changing. A full investigation was being put underway, and the base was set on the highest of alert levels since I'd been stationed there. Things are changing out here, and we need to find out what is going on before the situation escalates out of hand. That's all I can say for now. I'm heading out on patrol now. I'll relay any updates when I get back. Take care, all of you. Nothing bullets cannot cure. Wow. Hope you guys enjoyed this series here, part 1 and 2. Fantastically written by RavenLegionaire over on Reddit. We'll pop the link down on the description. so you guys can check that story out and keep up to date with everything that comes from that author. Please do, of course, let me know down below what you thought. Please do like and share. And as ever, guys, remember, if you're going camping, keep the fire stoked. And above all, be safe, not sorry.